Hey, Brock.
Hey. Oh. We're going.
We're going. How are you doing?
It's like, why are you saying hey like that?
I don't know, because we've been literally talking this whole time.
Yeah, and then hey.
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 Checking on you.
Because you're nice to me when we're recording.
When we're not recording.
Bitching
Asshole.
about my microphone. Yeah.
I would never.
You drink that beer.
I'm not drinking a beer.
What is that?
A beer?
Is that today's sponsor?
No.
Oh, okay.
We don't have sponsors. We're not at that level.
So if any of you need sponsorship, we'll drink your beer.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you doing, Brock? Other than dying on the inside.
I'm good. I have stabbing pains, but I'm all right.
Stabbing pains.
Yeah. Speaking of today's album. Nah.
No, we're both kind of feeling a little weird today. Kind of not under the weather, but maybe it's the change of the seasons we were saying earlier. I think.
Yeah. Maybe.
Just headache, kind of low energy.
It was 90 degrees today, though.
90 degrees today, but it's been cooler at night
Yeah.
and in the mornings. So
That ain't not bad.
and it's Friday, so you took a nap at least. I didn't get a chance to take a nap.
I took 3 naps today.
You took 3 naps today.
Mhm.
Damn, dude, that's adulthood.
That is, yeah. Thank you.
That's
I
adulting.
worked really hard to get to this point in life where I could do that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't napping. I was busy re-listening to the music for today and checking my notes again. So
Oh, are you trying to, like, flex on me that, like, maybe I'm, like, not in this as hard as you? Is
no,
that-
that's not what I'm saying.
See, I don't know.
That's not what I'm saying.
It seems like it because we segued from, oh, I didn't do
No.
anything today.
No, this is solidarity. We're both feeling cruddy today.
Whatever. You just like, I feel like I'm talking to my dad. It's like, oh yeah, well you were doing that. I was fucking working.
All right, here's the intro to Ear Beer Nears.
You've had enough.
Fuck.
It's that.
It's not working. There we go.
That was good. It was like that scene in Batman with the Joker about to blow
Yeah.
the place up. It's like
Yeah.
this fucking thing.
And then you had to improvise it.
Yeah.
All right.
fact, that was an accident.
This isn't like a movie, like Fun Fact channel podcast.
Well, there's like memes where they talk about
Yeah.
like the same like when you're watching a movie and you're like trying to mansplain to your girlfriend, you're like, yo, here's that scene where
Right.
you know, behind the scenes, I saw the commentary, you know, those guys. Yeah. Made me think of that.
All right. So, anyways, we're back. So, what did we listen to this week, Brock?
Today okay, this week, yeah, some of us today. We had okay. This week we listened to Unortheta by the Icelandic band Zhrine.
Zhrine.
Yes. They were formerly Zhrine, and before that, they were another band named that I'm blanking on right now. But they hail from Iceland. What the lead singer / guitar player is in another band called Svartidauli. I do not know how to pronounce that.
We don't need to.
We don't need to, but they're a pretty established extreme metal band. There's a little bit of similarities between the two, but overall, I think this kind of goes in a different direction. And I think he was in that band till like 2017. But other than that, there isn't a whole lot, you know, documented on these guys. So they're kind of newer, especially to this band name. They've only had one release, and yeah, they overall, you know, were kind of operating in a niche part of, you know, the death black metal type world. So I thought they'd be a good pick just because they're kind of newer and lesser known than some other albums we've picked and will pick. So
Yeah. I all cards on the table. I really enjoyed listening to this week. It was a pretty good switch up from what we listened to last week. You know, again, going towards something that's more metal and more driving, things like that. It was really good. Yeah, like you were saying, doing the research into this, like we couldn't use Wikipedia to like cheat our way through like research on this. I found a few articles that were fairly short, and even in these articles, I couldn't find a whole lot about background or really anything like about the individuals that make this band, and which was unfortunate because I really want to applaud a lot of the members in this band, like the
Yeah.
vocalist, the guitarist, other members, the drummer. One of the notes I made is like, holy crap! One thing that I've really taken from these past few weeks has been like we've had a chance to listen to some amazing drummers here recently. William Butler, was it Butler
Yeah, I
from
think so.
from is it Butler from
Arcade Fire?
yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's him. And then
yeah.
Johnny King
Johnny King.
from Alter Plagues, amazing drummer. And then whoever did the drums in the microphones, I don't know who that was. I can't remember.
Yeah. I don't know if probably was someone different. Could have been him too. I don't know.
But then the drums in this were really good too.
Yeah. And I watched a couple live videos. Did you see any? The bass player plays like this stand-up bass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and sometimes he uses like a cello bow.
Huh.
So
So I can see that. So there are tracks in this album that have just, cello or bass or what like with a bow. So I
Yeah.
didn't realize that was the actual like.
Yeah, and like some of their noisy, like kind of ambient parts. Because like I feel like every song kind of closes out with like a weird like soundscape,
Like
almost.
spacey
Yeah,
thing,
there's some
yeah.
space between songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I gonna say? But yeah, overall, there's not a lot on these guys except for like the one dude's prior band, and but yeah, overall, I'd say like one reason I picked this album was just sheer variety of styles and sounds, and how it all they mix some sounds that don't always go together, and they do it in ways where it doesn't sound like it's just thrown together. So I really like that about them, because they've done anything from post metal that you'd hear on maybe something like ISIS to some slower
band.
ISIS the band, sorry.
Yes.
Slower doom sections,
Yeah.
some mid-pace stuff, but also some like dissonant death metal on a couple tracks. Like they'll go from one style to another on that. Like the most surprising thing is like the opener, how it just has like this post metal, almost like a heavier version of We Lost the Seas, A Gallant Gentleman.
That's a good comparison because it's a nice build up to it. I agree. And then it's a nice, really euphoric, dissonant, but really nice melody. That da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's really nice, and it really catches you. And then whatever's going on in the background is very big and rhythmic and driving. It's a very big and bold statement right off the bat of this album, and I agree. I think that's a good way to put it. I think maybe A Gallant Gentleman from We Lost the Sea probably holds on to it a lot longer.
Yeah.
But I see the comparison for sure.
Yeah, because definitely the song, Utopian Warfare, it changes up, but it does it so nicely. Like it builds, and then it gives us this like swirling blast beats and like really dissonant riffs that they complement it really nice, and they go back to that motif kind of later on. And every song really calls back to like the themes it establishes. Because one thing I think like death metal and other genres are guilty of is just it seems like a lot of songs are thrown together with riff after riff, and it doesn't always glue together very well. Where here it seems like whether it's the way they palm mute or like a little triplet they might add, or at the end of a phrase or something the drummer does, it always kind of builds on top of each, like the themes it's established, and I found that really thoughtful. But like overall, I feel like the song, like the whole album, could be divided into like two halves. The first three songs and then the last four, because it feels like the last four could have been like one song, almost like a movement. It seems like.
I could see that.
because they all, like, when thinking about it, it's kind of difficult for me to like pick one apart from the other.
It's very samey, and this is something I say a lot. These last couple of weeks, some of these things that projects we've been listening to. You talked about dissonance, and that's like this album's bread and butter. And also the pacing, that's another note I made, is that they know how to do their pacing correctly in a way that they can accentuate parts that they bring down and then build up and then gets fast. They know how to do that in a way that's impactful and accentuates those moments. But, like you were saying, it seems like that's a pretty common pattern throughout those tracks. And then also that dissonance, that seems to be kind of the main melody thing they do, is the dissonant tremolo.
Yeah.
Which is good. I didn't mind it, but it's in every track on this album.
Yeah, the only the exceptions I would make are the second and third one, Spewing Gloom and the Syringe Dance, because those are just balls to the wall, really inspired by death metal songs. And I actually wish we had more of that, because the last four are really dirgy kind of post metal. I mean, there are blast beats, but overall it's they're very mid paced, and there's some very nice grooves with the riffs, but overall I wish there was a little bit more kind of maybe lower end type of death metal like they were really dabbling into. And
And like you were saying, you even said at the end of last episode kind of why you were picking this, and maybe towards the beginning of this as well, is that this isn't just pure black metal. Like, they pull from a lot of death metal, other things like that. One of the things I was saying about Spewing Gloom as well, we talked already a little bit about the first track. This is a really short album too, like 39 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
So it was really quick to listen to this. I listened to this quite a few times. Like when you had mentioned that this would be what we listened to, I listened to the whole thing just cleaning up my house, like doing the dishes.
Like, oh, it's done.
It's done. Yeah. But I enjoyed it. It was good working music. But going back to Spewing Gloom, it has that monstrous sound to it, right? The growls are awesome. I do like the singer's vocals. Did you have a chance in whatever research that you were able to do? Like, who is the vocalist? Do you know the name?
His name's I can't pronounce it. It's like Novki, something like that. Yeah. But no, he's got some interesting. Like, I don't normally like music that kind of roars like he does, because sometimes or at least in bands that do it, that's all they do, where I think he can do a growl and can do some really anguished screams.
The shrieks were amazing. Yeah. So I think it breaks it up nicely. I compared his shrieks to kind of like Alex Kohler's from Chelsea Grin circa My Damnation.
Oh yeah, kind of, because it's like raspier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really get that, but yeah, I kind of hear that now.
That's what I kind of drew myself to, and I made a note further on in here in my listening of like, if Chelsea Grin had gone the same direction and more blackened direction that My Damnation was going for, if they would have delved deeper in that, maybe an album or two down the line, I feel like this is where they would have ended up at. Is kind of what I took from this. Is like, because there's breakdowns in this, and I put notes on certain tracks on here. It's like, you fucking tell me that wasn't a breakdown I just heard in a black metal album.
In this, in the Syringe Dance, yeah, there's that like hardcore like breakdown. Which,
yeah,
I mean, I guess no one's ever complained about a breakdown, like as long as the song isn't built around a breakdown.
That's true.
Where
I've heard too many people just like, is that a breakdown?
Yeah.
Duh. And then I hear people just like, is that a chorus? Duh. So I've heard like a lot of people be like,
there are always exceptions people make, and there's definitely death metal bands that do it, but they might say this is actually a doom metal section. You gotta admit, it's not like a zeros.
No. No, it's not like that.
It's not like binary code, like breakdowns.
Jason Richardson. Very formulaic.
So I mean, slowing the song down. No, I don't think. People on the internet are gonna argue, but like if you really ask them, like, are you okay with this? They'll be like, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
like you're allowed to change the tempo.
Are you allowed to just have the breaks in sound like this album does? Because it does that too in places.
I love the breaks.
I love them too. They're well placed. Again, going back to accentuating big moments,
Yeah.
they do it well. But is that something that's common in this genre?
I think it's more of a death metal thing. I don't
Okay.
think black metal you get that often, which is why it's so hard to like place this album because
Where
I
it kind
can't.
of fits. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna put this next to like Cannibal Corpse and say, hey, if you like this, you'd like. Well, I wouldn't. Cannibal Corpse
No.
is such a bad example, but
Yeah.
like you're straight up like we're gonna use the bottom strings and kind of, dun 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 dun.
Well, and
dun,
there was
hammer
parts
smash
where-
face time sound and shit.
I'd say there's probably more parts in here that made me think of like, because those dissonant kind of higher pitched melodies that it hit kind of had kind of like that Unortheta. Is that how you say that band's name?
Sure. Unortheta.
Good band. Good band.
Yeah, like the
It's
yeah,
not
like
genty as that, but but it has the same kind of like notes and sounds as that.
yeah, kind of. They have like that like atmosphere where they have their like higher end guitars kind of doing some really eerie, nightmarish things. Yeah.
Dum, 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 dum,
I mean, I'm
yeah.
not a big like breakdown gent guy, but I fuck with that band.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, they're okay for me.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. They're
Yeah.
they're like weird enough in their song structures to where I don't really mind like some of the things they do. Like it comes down to like, did you make this song for the sake of a breakdown? Like, because there are
Right.
bands who they do really cool stuff until then, and it just seems like, oh, here's our little thing we have to do so Rise Records will keep us on their fucking label. So,
But then there's, yeah, I guess I grew up kind of like loving breakdowns.
I did
guess.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved breakdowns. Chelsea Grin again, like
But who's
Sonnet of the Wretched.
Can you name a band that has come out in the past like 10 years who does breakdowns that you really fuck with? Because I can't.
I think just a lot of my listening goes back to the older
Like
stuff.
you go
that I
back to
listened
it. But
Yeah,
if you
I go
listen to
back
something now,
it.
you're like, okay, this is okay, but they did this in 2008 way better.
I think the last breakdowns I listened to were probably again going back to Unortheta, maybe Wave of Babies by Animals as Leaders,
Oh.
going back to Tosin Abasi.
But that's still like 10, 12 years ago.
Was that really?
Yeah, I think that album's gotta be that
Craziness.
old. Yeah, so and like yeah, if you do
It's so
and
good.
I mean, I'd even consider those to be in the prog side of things. So it's
Yeah,
like,
that
have we
is-
even gone
that's
back to
proggy.
a deathcore band and been like, this is the shit? Like, these like someone whose shirt would be in Hot Topic, someone would be on Warped Tour. Like, Dawson
Right.
Abasi's not going to Warped Tour. No one is because it's over. But
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's true.
when
I
they
guess.
do it, it's like it's
And I haven't listened to any new like deathcore things. Like all my deathcore listening is pretty much just what I used to listen to. Pretty much, and that's where you get a lot of those breakdowns and
who's that band Lorna Shore? They're
Yeah.
one who came across my radar, but they are literally like Chelsea Grin 3.0.
3.0.
Seems like like they have this singer that sounds crazy and everyone's losing their shit. I'm like, they did this for Chelsea Grin when they came out. They're like, this guy's insane. And like song wise, I don't feel like that genre's really doing anything that it hasn't already done or didn't do. So I don't know. I feel like when either your songs are structured around that or milking some type of chorus, and
Right.
then it gets a little boring. So, but I don't know I guess the point is you can take your most purest death metal snob and like you can listen to something they would approve and find a breakdown in there, and they would be like, what? It's not the same, dude. Because like I'm thinking of like there's a band I thought about having us do this album. It's a band called Vacavus.
Vacavus.
Yeah, they're like so inspired by 90s death metal that if it wasn't for a little bit cleaner production, you think it might can't come from that era. And they have some moments where they slow it the fuck down and they like do some like almost kind of chugging stuff. Same with the band Teeth. There's some like breakdown-esque moments, and these are like approved by death metal fans. It's not like, but I don't know. I think guitar tone, amps. If someone sounds too digital, then they'll like throw the book at you and be like, "Dude, you fucking core."
Actually,
purist.
you didn't record in a garage
Yeah. Right.
with a tin can for a microphone.
But that brings me to the like I love the tone of this album because it's such a nice production. Like it's not so crisp that it sounds fake, but it's also not so raw that you can't like pick the bass out, which is another characteristic that it's like a little bit more than a black metal record because a lot of times bass is inaudible.
Yeah,
And, like it just hits the mix perfectly.
yeah, it's nice. It's nicely mixed. I agree. The drums are really crisp. They're not like really lo-fi sounding at
Yeah.
all. Again, I really love the drums on this album.
Yeah, they're great. I love how we went to a breakdown discussion because of this album. That's really funny.
Well, there are breakdowns in it because there's
No, they're not.
so going back
Yes,
to
there are.
there definitely are.
There's a few.
There's definitely a few. So one of the most prominent ones, you know, I think Syringe Dance itself has like 2 or 3 of them in that track alone. It's like it's probably the longest track in the album, one of them at least. And it has some unique breakdowns in it. One of the notes I made was like, let me see if I can find it. It said, awesome fucking riffs all around, awesome growls, breaks. It has a break, like we're talking about, and then a motherfucking breakdown on the upbeats.
Yeah.
It does like a yeah, it's crazy.
And I think that's what makes it not your textbook breakdown, which I guess in your death metal purist playbook is okay. But yeah, I love that. It's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's awesome.
And I love the riff at the beginning because it just it showcases both like sides of like the death metal and the black metal because it's got that dun, you know, dissonant like they're bending the notes but then they go dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I'm like that just shows both moments really well.
I was listening to this and I was literally like thinking that it would help me remember these riffs if I literally wrote dun 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 dun.
I do that too. I did that with Altar of Plagues.
You did?
Yeah.
It's just like dun 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 dun. It's like,
Yeah, because there's that song like dun 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 dun.
Yeah. So I did that today too for this. That's funny.
Yeah,
the lead in to Syringe Dance scared the shit out of me the first time I heard it. Did it scare you too?
No, but it's like really
Eerie. It's scary
because of how spewing gloom
Spooky.
ends.
Yeah.
If you're just like chilling, it's like
like it does like a weird like horror movie like a I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird sound. But I was doing dishes and I was like, what the fuck?
That's great.
Yeah, it scared me. And then the guitar riff, like you said, at the beginning of that song is very satisfying, very cool. Yeah. Awesome riffs, breaks, and then the cool upbeat breakdown that's in this track. This track is monstrous. And then that's when I mentioned again, I think this track of all the tracks in this album probably has more of that, My Damnation feel to it. Yeah.
She just likes being held.
Yeah. Brock's got my kitten. She just wants to be the center of attention.
Most cats would have like clawed their way out of my hands by now. Okay.
She doesn't care. No,
the
she
cat
really
care.
doesn't she doesn't really mind.
I heard that too.
That's the big cat. That's Ferdinand.
Oh, I thought
That's
not the
Ferdinand.
dog. I thought someone was like saying I need help.
No, he says hello.
Oh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, so Ferdinand, our cat, he's our only male animal other than me in this household. If I'm right, am I right?
Yeah.
He's when he meows sometimes he'll just say hello,
Hello.
which can be terrifying, just out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a question for you.
What's your question?
On the track World, what's at the beginning of that? I put like wind chimes.
I put because I was wondering it too. Like I imagined like you're walking through like the prop set of like a carnival, and like you're like pushing past like metal and chimes and like weird metal things. It was weird. I don't know. I kind of was thinking the same thing, and then the drums are kind of like out of left field. I don't think
like
the
like
drums,
some random like plop noises.
the drums like were like random like bongo noises in there.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were layered in there really nicely, personally.
Or they, yeah. I don't,
It was out of no. It was like this doesn't mix with the metallic sound that's going on. Unless they're trying to tell a story with it. I didn't look up any lyrics for this, so I don't know.
I did. It's about like the world decaying and shit. Like
I was
as
asking.
you'd
I was
expect.
wondering if it was like the apocalypse or something.
Yeah.
The world is dying.
There aren't many lyrics on it. It's like all of the lyrics would be like the same like amount of words that's in like one Arcade Fire song.
Oh, nice.
Like the whole album's that. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind like the ambient moments, but I don't feel like they did anything for me.
Did you? Okay, so the beginning of World. Did you like it?
Yeah, I like it if I'm listening to the whole thing, but to be like, let's put World on, I'm not gonna do. For one, World feels like a bit of an interlude. It seems like it's like this kind of transition from the first three songs to like this kind of, I don't know, like if this had all been one track at the last four songs, I'd be like, this is definitely a 4-part like movement that's like this like end of the world like funeral dirge as we walk out of existence into oblivion.
But I didn't get that at all with this, and
I felt that with like, because it always went back to like this marching like mid-pace like which they didn't do a whole lot of that in the previous tracks. They were kind of fast, or like with the exception of the first one being kind of post-metal-y. But these were like definitely like, it felt more like doom metal, like just like kind of a dirge, and then with random moments of like excitement, and then but it seemed like it went back to this like motif, which is why I think there's something thematically tying those four together that I didn't totally get on the first three.
Yeah, possible. Yeah, I made note as far as the beginning of World. I put it in my category, my list here, as probably my least favorite moments of this album.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely probably the weakest track, because I mean, there's like barely any vocals on it. I do like when like they do this thing where they I wish they would have done it more on the album, where they take all the guitars distortion off and like the drums are kind of grooving.
Yeah,
because it reminds me of this other band, Ulcerate. I don't know if I've ever shown you them.
I don't think so. You might have, but I don't remember.
Where they do like the drums will really like, you know, do some hi-hat work and like some other random cymbals, and you know, it's like quiet, but it's also big because of the drums. But then the guitars are kind of in the background doing like some weird dissonant like kind of droning noises, and that really reminded me of that band to a degree. So I would love to see them do more of like that loud, soft dynamic.
I agree.
Where they pull it back a bit.
The moments that it did that was really nice in this album. I agree.
Yeah, and maybe like the fact that they were so sparse is what made it really enjoyable. But I don't know. I feel like there could be a little bit more. But I mean, this was the band's first album too, so it's such a great start to like their career. But it's been 5 years since they've had an album out, so I don't know if they're working on something new. I haven't really seen any teasers on their Facebook, but I mean, as far as like this album, it's definitely a very good listen. I feel like it didn't end as strong as it began, though.
Oh, I made a note of that too.
Yeah. Because like the last track, it didn't end on the note of the first track, because the first track was so epic. Like and I put that too, for being the title track that it's ending with. It was kind of a disappointing note that it ended on. It was short. It had maybe some good explosive moments in it, but it didn't at all send me off the way it started me. Yeah.
Right?
I think my most favorite thing was when the guitars do like that dun, 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 and you think it's going to go into like a like another like doom metal thing, but the drummer decides to do blast beats over that while they're doing this like slow picked guitar.
Yeah.
I always love when bands do that. Altar of Plagues has done that.
Yeah.
A couple other bands I think do. Maybe Ulcerate, they've done that too, where it's like this kind of interesting contrast they're putting out there. So I made note that that was pretty cool. And then kind of how they did another pause, and then they kind of come in slower, and it's more anguish. So
Right.
I see that like where their heads are at as far as kind of making this like a little bit more depressing, more anguished. But
Yeah.
overall, I mean, it was pretty short, and I don't know. Maybe it's because maybe they were going for that theme of like hopelessness, that it's going away, that they kind of wanted to end on like a note like that.
Yeah. I think just sadly, this, I don't know if it's just, based on what the band had, maybe as far as resources, things like that. But, 39 minutes, it's not really that long. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of death metal albums are like 39 minutes
Really?
long. Yeah, or not 39 exactly, but like usually I don't see many that go
Much farther
over
than
an
that.
hour, and
Okay.
and they probably shouldn't,
Okay.
just given the nature of like, we're gonna pulverize you for an hour.
That's fair, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
Never mind
but
that.
they don't really do that on this album, so like this could have been longer. Like if you have quiet sections where you're building songs up, like I'm okay if the album being a little longer, but there's other cases where it can be too long if you're doing the same thing the whole time. But yeah,
Yeah.
this definitely, they could have had it another 40 minutes, and I
Yeah.
would have been here for it. Like I feel like it's a good sound, and it's a
I
good
agree.
style to explore, and there's a lot more they can do, and maybe because it's their debut,
That's true.
maybe they didn't want to overload it was released through a label, so I mean, I don't know, I assume they had that already, but probably given their prior band. But
Yeah.
as far as teasers, they had only released Spewing Gloom before releasing this whole thing, so it's not like I haven't seen like a demo or anything like that come out from them.
Yeah. So going back a little bit, maybe stepping back a little bit, like let's go back to Syringe Dance just for a little bit, I think. Or maybe even Spewing Gloom, because I think we really skipped past that, because we went from Utopian Warfare, went straight to Syringe Dance, and you mentioned Spewing Gloom a little bit. Yeah, like you were saying, I really do get that sense of that glooming feeling, like the world is ending, things like that. And this is where I really feel like the drums really shine as well, within this track. And then we go to the beginning. Actually, no, let's skip back to World, because I know we said the beginning of World. Sorry, I'm like all over the fucking place. I don't know why.
It's okay. It's okay.
World, the beginning intro we were saying wasn't what?
Your cat's gone.
Did she get in the ceiling?
Yeah.
How?
She went out through like by the window.
God, that's fine. She'll find her way back.
Okay.
We got cats in the ceiling. Mm-hmm. God dang
Better
it.
than the cradle. Okay, so we talked about World or Spewing Gloom. Pick one.
World.
Okay.
Because we were talking about the intro is just like, I could have done without. It didn't add much to the overall song. I could have done without it. It didn't add much to the effect of it. Spooky, spooky, but it
So
wasn't
spooky.
so scary. It was, it's like horror movie 101 basically at the beginning of this. It's like, this is cool, but whatever. But the actual song itself without the intro was interesting. The guitar, like it kind of picked up with the toms, with the drum kicking in, kind of with a nice like rhythm, kind of going back to the dirgy feeling, maybe like a marching kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And then it went like straight almost into the build up, and then it had like a nice basic guitar riff, and then it just had like a really nice rhythm there. Like I was banging my head pretty much throughout this whole album.
It's a good track, even if it might be the weakest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either that or the last track for me, but I don't know. I feel like the last track has some highlights that I liked. And overall, Empire and Earth and Hail, they're super similar songs. But,
Yeah.
the main difference is like kind of how they, like Earth Inhaled has this like cool dissonant riff, and it's got like that tom build up, and the drums pace it out really nicely, and there's some harmony between the guitars, and then it builds in this like really messy riff that's kind of lo-fi, and then before it goes in a bunch of blast beats. But then they also do like that little like quieter section, kind of similar to what they did on World, before they go back into like, more crazy blast beats. But I think that track is probably the most like nightmarish like melody at the end.
Yeah.
Of any of the songs, which
is that the one that has like the spacey kind of like noodly guitar going in, and then that goes straight into. I'm trying to remember which track
it's got the
that was.
hazy outro. Yeah, like super dissonant. I think we should drink every time we say dissonant.
Yeah.
But yeah, that melody's like really like a Wilde Harda kind of sounding. But yeah, overall, I don't feel like this album is as scary enough to warrant some of the quiet ambience that it puts in through the whole thing.
I agree.
Like, they could be scarier if they want to go for that. I wasn't like going in like, oh, this is so dark. Like, it is dark, but it's not like a horror movie to me.
Right.
It was like, this is just a fucking awesome songs with, a little bit of breaks in between.
Altar of Plagues is scary.
That is scary.
The only scary moment was probably the lead up into Syringe Dance.
Yeah, when that's a jump scare, it's cheap shit.
Yeah.
So like, it's not a horror album.
That's true. I like the way you put that.
Yeah, I'm thinking of there's this other band. I wanted to pick them, but they're not on Spotify, so I don't know how we'd listen to it.
Yeah.
It's on like my Apple Music because I have both for some stupid reason.
Right.
But they have like these like, they do something similar where like between songs they have like this really ominous stuff, but they like add in these really like low notes and drums that are like almost inaudible, but they're there. And like this really spooky, like kind of like, it's kind of like if, when you're watching those like ghost hunter shows. But But like, it's always like something weird with like the heater, the furnace, like those ominous like. Whoa.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's in that album, and that scares the fuck out of me between songs.
Oh yeah.
But like, it's just like this low end. It's like your ears barely pick it up, but something's wrong.
Well, one of the cheesiest things in this album, and I made a comment when I was listening to it, I put War Pigs because there's a siren at the end of Syringe Dance. There's a like a tornado siren or like a whatever it is, and
War Pigs.
General Gallery near Massive.
I thought you were gonna say one of the riffs was from War Pigs. I was like, where? No. Tell me right now. How did I miss that?
No, it's a siren. I was just like, is there really a fucking siren?
So maybe that is like their end of the world type.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, it broke the immersion of it.
Did it?
Really, to me it did.
Don't remember this.
Well, to me
care
it
either.
Did. Huh?
I don't care either.
You don't care? You don't care?
I don't care about the siren, dude.
You don't care?
No, I don't.
About this album that you picked?
I know I care about I don't care about the fucking siren.
Why? I care about the siren.
Just put some random noise over. It's okay. I didn't particularly like that. Actually, I do remember.
Fuck me then.
I do remember this. Yeah, fuck you. They just spoiled the whole dinner.
Actually,
yeah.
The immersion was lost.
Immersion was lost. Yeah. Fuck you and your fragile sense of immersion that a fucking siren was gonna ruin the album for you. And you're accusing me? But yeah, that sucks, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say to you. God.
I didn't say the outro for that was probably the longest, and I think like I was listening in the car today, and I think I just skipped.
Yeah,
that
it's not noteworthy. It's some of these songs in this album, like you feel like, oh okay, it's ending, and then you look at the track, it's like, huh.
Like, are you gonna do something?
There's like a minute and
or-
40 seconds left. And what's it
Yeah.
going to do? And it does something, but then it meanders a little bit.
I like the break. Like, I like how they've broken the songs up. So I don't totally fault them for doing that.
Right.
And I don't know what I want either. Like, do I want a minute and 40-second interlude in between every song? I don't really like when bands do that either. So
Right.
But like every track had like this different noise horror part. And
So you agree with me, the siren wasn't needed because it was just...
I don't agree that it ruined anything. That's
Oh.
but I feel like if that was I'm not gonna lay awake at night and be like, man, if they would have just put this like siren in the middle, that would have really like made like put the nice little bow on top of this thing that it needed. Like I'm not gonna say that either. Like if it had just gone right in the world, but the bigger complaint is like world starts off quiet too. Syringe Dance is like a minute 40. And then we have like another it's almost a minute of like wind chimes before we go into the actual song of World. So, if they ended it like that with the siren, that's okay. It's Ozzy. Maybe they're homaging. That's fine. But then maybe just start off the next song with the guitar and then go from there versus have an ambient outro and then an ambient intro back to back.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's okay.
I feel like you should agree with that
I agree.
because I'm agreeing with you.
Did you learn your fucking lesson, Trevor?
No.
Did you learn? Did you learn something today, Trevor?
I think we agreed that.
All this because of a siren.
Yeah, well, like the siren didn't piss me off, but like there was too much space between those tracks if we're getting down to like what we love about this album, because I didn't come here for an ambient album.
No, it's true.
Or you thought I was gonna say I didn't come here to talk about a fucking siren, Trevor. Yeah.
I didn't drive all the way here a total of 5 minutes.
Yeah, a 5-minute drive for a fucking siren. But I appreciate it, like, because there are a lot of death metal albums where I sit there and think, man, I need a break. Could you like put something in between these?
Can you be a little bit more tender, Daddy?
There's there's like a Dark Throne album where they have like 8 seconds of silence in between each song, and that pisses me off too. Because I'm like, just go into it. Why did you have to add all this space at the end?
Right.
Because I don't know if that's because, remember when you would burn CDs, you could do that. That was a setting. You could say like add 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. It's stupid. Your little CD player would count down from 10.
Yeah.
Am I making myself sound old?
Maybe little.
Oh, CD burning used to be an art form. It was when you would take songs and put them on a blank disc, and then you'd give it to your girl and say, "Made you a mixtape,
Hey,
boo."
what's up?
Yeah, and then she'd be like, "Who are you?" I don't want to listen to "Job for a Cowboy" and "Bring Me the Horizon."
Literally, like with like Sharpie marker, you just wrote "Bree, Bree, Bree."
This is the Doom EP.
God. I just made some Grateful Dead burnt CDs. Not just made. I think I gave it to my father-in-law for Christmas.
Oh,
Yeah.
you made him some bootleg tapes.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay because they're cool with that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
How'd you do that? Like,
I just off YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You know that's not legal.
Yep.
Okay. But it's Grateful Dead, so
I did this in Minecraft, not in real life.
oh. I've never played Minecraft. I'm not a virgin, but
Yeah, I downloaded songs off YouTube in Minecraft.
wow, you have a really cool world you built there. That you have computers.
Yeah, we'll just go with that.
I don't know anything about that game, but could like you do that?
No.
No?
I don't think.
I
sure.
mean, okay, as a human race, we somehow went from sticks and rocks to having phones. So why can't we do that in Minecraft?
Somebody actually built like a computer in Minecraft.
And it works.
Yeah, operating computer in Minecraft.
Wow.
Yeah, with redstone, and so redstone is like the electricity of the game, kind of, if you think about it in a way.
How much have you
I
played this
don't
game?
want you to play Minecraft because I don't think I could ever pull you out of Minecraft.
Oh, you think it's actually good?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a fucking good game. I don't play it a lot. It takes like not really a whole lot. Like maybe on like some occasions I'll play some Minecraft.
I just stopped talking. Let you go. Explain yourself.
So I said in Minecraft, so that means like I did this thing, but not in real life, right? So it makes it seem as though I'm not guilty of doing.
Don't mansplain the joke to me.
I'm mansplaining it to you because
are.
it
I
clearly
feel
went over
really
your
diminished.
fucking head.
Oh, okay. Just because you're taller than me
I'm very tall.
doesn't mean
I'm
it
much
goes
taller
over.
than you.
You are significantly thicker.
I'm thick. God.
So on the song Empire,
Yeah.
it's got a nice groove, and then like they go in those like dun
yeah,
dun
bro,
dun
yeah,
dun
yeah.
the 6/8 timing signature when it goes into like that death metal riff. You know, it's like dun, 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 dun.
You were counting that for the time signature in that?
No, I knew what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, don't try to nerd me after your Minecraft spiel. Are you counting the measures?
Actually,
I bet you count the frames in movies too. How
Yep.
many seconds between cuts into Michael Bay?
yeah.
8.
God.
Yeah. I put great pause. Man, I noted the pauses.
Great pause.
I did say the outro flows super nice into the Earth Inhaled from that song.
I think that's the noodly kind of spacey guitar I was talking about.
Oh, maybe it was.
I think that's what I was mentioning earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's like a good transition.
Yeah.
Syringe dance.
Because
the world is
and
not.
then the world inhaled. It's from Empire to World Inhaled, right? Or is it vice versa?
They all go into each other.
Yeah,
the
but
last
like
four.
it starts with like a loud initial guitar tone, and then it kind of continues that motif kind of that was going on in the outro of the song prior to that. You know what I'm
it's got
saying?
the quiet like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'd almost think why not start the song with that,
Right.
but I don't care. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you're listening to them in sequence, it's nice. You're like, oh, here we are. Yeah, that was super nice. Then there was a hazy outro into Unortheta. Unortheta. Yeah. Well, overall, and we can put the ambience on a shelf, I think every song is super cohesive, has great motifs.
Yeah.
And I never felt like they were doing something just because they threw it in or just because the riff was cool that it went in here. More bands than not are guilty of piling riffs and saying, here it is.
Yeah.
Like, there were callbacks. There may not have been, like, moments where they did the same melody,
Right.
but it was so close to where you knew it was part of the song, and it had from start to finish. It was cohesive and it flowed and it all felt like it was purposely put there and meaningful.
Yeah. I would say just as just something I noticed and I mentioned a little earlier, I think they kind of held on to that dissonant kind of tremolo. You know, that's something that's pretty common, but they kind of maybe use it as a clutch a little bit in this, I would say.
Sure.
I didn't mind it. so I give them a pass with it. But they were really cool. On top of it, they did have a few good, on top of the riffs. I agree with you. I don't feel like they were just kind of just mindlessly thrown in there. But they had like cool noodling kind of licks and riffs in there that kind of were like call and response, kind of like yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It has like pretty cool kind of call and response kind of licks in it. This album was just very metal. It's just a good way to put it. It was just metal.
I think I give them a pass on the dissonance too, because like they're the biggest complaint you get from like post rock or post metal is like, oh, you just like crank the reverb and you're playing like the simplest shit over that. But there are some menacing riffs all over this album that really juxtapose like that. Ugh, what a fucking word. That juxtapose. Yeah, like I went to college. There was like more hazy, reverberated moments where I feel like if it was all that, you'd be like, okay, I get it. It's you guys can bend notes that are a half step above in a different place on the guitar. That's great. But yeah, overall, like there is enough like excitement to keep me interested the whole time.
Yeah,
I was never like, ooh, just snoozed on that. Where like maybe if it had been longer, it maybe could have been guilty of it. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm curious to see where they go next.
I hope they make some new stuff. They have a lot of good. I really enjoyed this album. I think if they make something else new, I think it could be big, and yeah, interesting.
Hopefully longer. I would love to see them kind of explore like a
longer tracks,
or even like a more stripped back, like just brutal track. Like,
right.
Not many bands hit both well.
Maybe they can take some notes from maybe Alter. Maybe they can get together with them and do something kind of maybe some notes, because like I really liked the way Alter structured. Yes, their tracks, and they actually got that kind of menacing, impending, like dooming feeling in their their tracks, in their writing.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is like the Altar of Plagues album, like there's not any riffs like they have on this. Like I'm having trouble thinking of like where's like a really cool like just gritty riff, and it's because it's like one guitar player. It was very stripped back for guitar, so
right.
Yeah, that I don't know what point I'm trying to make with that, but maybe like as far as atmospheres and maybe song structures, like there could be some interesting crossover between those two styles. And one thing, like I compare this band to Ulcerate a lot, who that band is probably one of the best, I think, at this style. But at the same time, sometimes their mixing choices, like the drums are too up front, and on top of that, the guitars are both doing two different things at the same time. And if you're paying attention, it can be really cool. But like if you're not, you have no idea what's going on. And it depends on the album too. But I felt like with this Zhrine album, every riff was very easy to pick out and to enjoy, even if it was doing something different, from one guitar to the other. So I really did like that. I'll say the riffs were nowhere near as complicated as Ulcerate, but they're definitely inspired and in kind of a similar world to them. So I definitely appreciated that, because production with this style is like kind of everything. You don't want to be too clean, don't want to be too messy, but you also don't want to be unlistenable.
Yeah.
So I mean, overall, I think they've got a good sound, and
I agree.
I'm curious to if they're working on something new.
They are clearly good musicians. They have a good direction. They're talented, and they can pull things and compose things really nicely. I agree with you. It's the work musically is still very simple in this. The riffs aren't anything too complicated.
Yeah, most of the time.
But most of the time, yeah. And it's actually nice that they kind of like it's not anything too insane, or anything like flashy, anything like that. It's nice to kind of just take a step back and just like they had a lot of their riffs are just kind of your traditional metal chugging,
Yeah.
you know, like that you get like in a lot of different types of metal stuff. It wasn't anything like you were saying, like the zeros on a tablature sheet or anything like that, or crazy winding sweeps and arpeggiated things. And you know, it's
Yeah.
nice when you can dial it back and just play and be heavy and menacing, and you don't need all of this pomp and fancy shit.
How weird would it have been if they'd thrown a guitar solo in?
There was times I thought they were going to. So there was an end of one track. It was like a brief kind of like high, and it sounded like it was almost going to go to one, but then it just dropped it.
Yeah.
It almost sounded like they're going for one. I was like, are they doing it? Are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? Are they going to do
don't
it?
know, like,
and then they didn't do it. And I was like,
ruined it.
yeah, I agree. It would have been out of place.
Yeah. Because I don't think I've ever, like there was, like, what, 5 Ulcerate albums? I don't think I've ever heard them do that. It would be so strange to hear that. It would have been the siren for me. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe they could do something kind of cool where there's a...
Oh
don't
no,
know.
there's a siren. Don't tell Trevor.
like they're doing all these like hazy notes, and then all
That's
of
gonna
a
be a
sudden like
thing.
this like like a fucking whammy bar like woo
Yeah, yeah.
comes in.
I thought it was also kind of cheesy. I say cheesy, it's mean, but they said it's cheesy. It was a good track, and I like the way it opened up. But I think one of the songs opens literally with a guitar with a pick slide. I was listening to it, and then it's got a heavy riff, and it's like I can't remember the last time I listened to a band and there was a pick slide.
No, was it? Oh, was it? No.
Wait a minute. Which one is it? I made a note of it. Let me look it up for you, Brock.
Yeah.
I pinpointed it in my notes. Let me look.
It's kind of funny though that they did that.
Yeah, which one is it?
I don't hate it. You've picked out some things I didn't notice, which I guess is why we do this.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, no, it's track 3, Syringe Dance, opens with a guitar. So it has a guitar riff that's heavy, pick slide, and then it goes into it. So it's a Syringe Dance that has the pick slide, which is like, I can't remember the last time I heard a pick slide, and I'm thinking of like Kill Switch Engage, maybe? Yeah.
That's a real 2000 thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe bring it back. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes I do
got
it just to be funny.
It's
But
got some character to it. I've never made it sound good.
no.
Like, I don't know how
Sounds
they do
like
it on
ass.
Kill Switch, but it just sounds awesome.
Yeah.
What song is that? Is that the End of Heartache?
I think it could be. I think it's My Curse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
they do that before the quiet little, like, for comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like a good pick slide, man.
Yeah. Other than that, not too many more thoughts on this. You know, I think my least favorite moments, like I said, were probably the beginning of World. The intro isn't nearly as abrasive as like the clocks at the beginning of Time and the Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that album.
So our next album will be Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, really?
No.
I saw you wrote metal down on your list, so I was like, oh.
I wrote Metal on my list?
Metal by Pink Floyd.
Oh, Metal by Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
oh,
you did-
Metal.
Metal. Yeah, like meddling. Yeah.
There's some good songs on that.
I think that's a really good album.
Oh, yeah, it is a good album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was happy to see that on your list instead of Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, I've listened to it before. I wasn't sure. Now that I know that you've explored it before, ooh, that's a big beetle on the floor. But since I saw that now I know you explored it, we probably won't touch that. But
I didn't do it a lot. I mean, you've
We
listened
can
to
listen
Echoes.
to what is it, Seamus the dog or something that's on that album or something
I don't
like
even
that.
remember the fucking 30-minute song at the end, Echoes, that they
Yeah.
pretentiously played in Pompeii to an audience of no one in the 70s.
Oh God.
And they had like all the, you want to talk about bullshit ambience, the middle of that song is like like birds, like, and it's like
Yeah.
and then they're like, all right, it's time to play the song again.
Oh
I'm
God.
like, there goes 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, that's not going to be the next thing we listen to. But things I really liked about this album, it was definitely metal. It was definitely driving, nice pacing. I loved the guitar work and the dissonance and the gloomy feel of it. And the vocals. I love the drums. I love the simplistic guitar work in this. I just wish there was more of it. I think that's pretty much my only gripe, other than some of the weird instrumental, weird intros and outros. And I think that was about it with the siren. That, you know, fuck me with the siren, right?
Fuck you, dude.
Yeah. And then the weird clangy, out of place, kind of weird metallic horror noises going into World. I didn't get it. But that was probably my only thing with it. Good
Maybe
album.
we're not supposed to get it.
And this is an album I'd probably be able to listen to again. Like this is something I could throw maybe some of these tracks into. Like the first track is probably my favorite, other than Syringe Dance, just because it's so big, and I love the when it builds up to it, kind of like you're saying, Gallant Gentleman, from We Lost the Sea, right? When it builds up, it's such a nice euphoric build up, and the guitar work is really nice.
Yeah, I think I continue to appreciate the variety, like that song's on the same album as Syringe Dance.
Yeah.
Two totally different songs.
Yes.
But and like, yeah, I think overall, like, I find this to be one of the more cohesive albums in this type of genre. While the ambience were a little lacking to me in some respects, I think having space and pace between songs is better than not, and I think I'd rather have a little bit of a break between some big moments than being pulverized where I couldn't tell one song apart from another, which happens a lot when there's not any room to breathe. So
That's true.
yeah, and overall I love a good dissonant riff. I love reverb guitars, tremolo. I mean, those are all little things that'll tickle me pink. So with blast beats, like it does those things I like to hear, and I'm really glad we did this, because it's, Bandit's not talked about, and it probably should be, and and I hope, as we do this channel more, we get to like do bands that might sound similar to like a more big band, but aren't getting as much
love,
clicks or love. Yeah, so yeah, it's a good one. So
yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that too. So now it is the actual time where I get to pick this next week's of listening. So I had a couple that I was really juggling in my head. This is a really stressful thing, because my mind was just like, do I got something, metal again? But then that just makes this a metal music podcast, and I feel like that's just not what we're advertising here. We're advertising kind of a mix of things, but so I wanted to go one route metal, and then I was like, well, there isn't one album that is really near and dear to my heart that is not well known, and one that I have a lot of good memories with, and I'm gonna pick that one, and that is ready. You ready for this?
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Am I gonna be excited?
I don't know if you're gonna be excited. You might hate me for this. I'm not sure.
Okay.
We're gonna be listening to Queen Moo.
Queen Moo?
Queen Moo's self-titled album, Queen Moo.
Oh, is that band you saw?
This is the band I saw in a garage in Indy, like in a cornfield, with one of my good friends. Mutual friend of ours, yes. And yeah. So
I don't think I've ever listened to them.
Oh, you didn't listen to them? Okay, I thought you did.
Or maybe I don't remember them.
Oh, you might. I'll send you the link to them. So they're
Self-titled.
fun. I actually got to meet these people. So and they were really kind. And They're really good musicians. It's kind of like an indie, kind of an indie emo kind of thing, Midwest kind of. But actually, no, they're from. I think they're from Massachusetts, kind of in that area. So they're East Coast, and they were just kind of doing a small kind of like tour again, like branching out as far as they could. They were doing, again, a show in a garage with a few other bands that kind of met at the time. About some of their merch. I can't wear any of their merch because it's really not safe for public or safe for work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can show it to you.
It's got like a penis on it.
No, it's it's not penis.
Oh, close.
Think other
Balls.
no, other think female.
Oh.
Not vagine.
Boobies.
Yeah.
It's got boobies.
It's got boobies. But it's a really good band. I love this album. I listened to it a lot when I was in undergrad at college, driving from work and back. So that's what we'll be listening to.
All right.
All right. So we'll be listening to Queen Moo's self-titled album, Queen Moo, this week, and then we'll be back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my God, Louise. All right. See you guys. Kisses.
Bye. Kisses.
Queen Moo.
I forgot about that band.
I thought when I said it, you would have clicked with it, but I guess no, we haven't talked about that in a while.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, now it's like I remember you went with Boobroy. That was to the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna die that day too.
From the.
Just being in the middle of a cornfield was weird.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah, it is the Midwest.